Hi, Jen here from Jen Michelle Coaching, and today I want to talk about what to look for if you're feeling exhausted in your relationship. For those of you new to my channel, I would love to invite you to subscribe. I release a video weekly. So if we're exhausted in relationship, we kind of want to look at ourselves, our behaviors, and what's driving them and what's motivating us. Because if we are in a relationship and the main sort of point of attraction is fear, we are going to be taking a lot of fear-based action that may create sort of a comfortable moment, but will cost us with the resentment and the anger and the uncertainty that's building because we are not actually allowing ourselves to see the truth of the situation. So in this video, I want to invite you to check in with yourself on these three things to really be in truth and recognize what's driving you in relationship and where you can start to align so you are creating a relationship that's not rooted in a trauma bond, but you're really building from a love bond. Number one, is it one-sided? Are you doing everything to keep it alive? Is there a fear that if the ball is deflated on the floor, that no one will pick it up? Are you avoiding the uncertainty and the fear and the anxiety that seeing what is could possibly create? This is how we move into overfunctioning in relationship, because fear starts to ramp up so strongly that we end up doing everything while the other person ends up just kind of taking a more passive role. So, if you find yourself doing everything, ask yourself what led to this. Did it start slowly where little by little you started taking more on, filling in the space, driving it forward, and then all of a sudden it just moved to this sort of more extreme scenario where it feels really one-sided? So a way to really approach this would be to check in with yourself and notice if fear is in the driver's seat, and practice being in the unknown, letting the ball sit on the floor and reset things so you are not in this mode of overfunctioning and doing everything to keep it alive, because this only leads to a cycle of resentment and insecurity over time. Number two, you're holding a belief about yourself that leads you to overfunctioning. Check in with yourself on this. Where are you holding a story of maybe being unworthy, undeserving, having to do it all yourself? This can be deep-rooted subconscious, just mechanisms to make ourselves feel safe and to create certainty and to feel a sense of control and agency. The problem is it's short-sighted because we only have control over ourselves. And when we're trying to control things outside of ourselves, it leads us to just feeling helpless, like a victim, lost, and just like we're at a whim to our circumstances. And so I invite you to check in with any belief systems that you've been subconsciously or consciously carrying and begin to do the inner work to witness this part of yourself, question it, and open up a space to really connect to how worthy and deserving you actually are of the love that you desire. And you do not have to do anything to make that happen. You are already worthy of that. And as you connect to that again and again, the other person tends to mirror and reflect this back to you. But because in relationship, a partner can really only love us as much as we love ourselves, it's important that we explore those limiting beliefs so we do not allow them to drive our actions and behaviors in relationship. Number three, if you're exhausted in your relationship, perhaps you have difficulty setting boundaries. This is a big one for women, and I invite you to be really compassionate with yourself if setting boundaries is challenging for you. It really wasn't that long ago that women were dependent upon men for survival. That is no longer the case, yet that can live within us. And so it can feel incredibly scary to set a boundary with a man. If you are in relationship, you'll notice that for men, it's generally pretty easy to set a boundary. That's been encouraged. That's something that they grew up very natural to set boundaries for most men. But for women, that could have been a threat to us at one point, right? It could have been a threat to our survival. So even though that we're not in that day and age anymore, that still can really be a fear that we hold and an old instinct that we haven't fully retired. And so be compassionate with yourself and take baby steps in setting your boundaries, so you are not, living in this fear of rocking the boat and not showing up authentically in relationship because of a belief system that doesn't serve you. And so being able to take those steps to tell the truth, to say when something doesn't feel right for you, to really honor and not self-abandon, right? What do I need? What do I want? What's the best choice for me? If I say yes, is this going to be unclean? Is this going to build some other emotions that don't serve me? And you practice, really, even if your voice is shaky, just telling the truth and honoring what you need. And this is something I invite you to have a lot of compassion and a lot of empathy as you move through it, and dip your toe into really speaking up for yourself and building this self-trust. I hope these 3 tips are helpful, and I have no doubt that if you're exhausted in relationship, it's really so often about what you can stop doing versus what you can actually do. So practice letting go, practice facing your fears, and you may be just completely amazed at what is on the other side as a result of you facing these aspects within yourself. If you'd like more information on me, please check out my website, jenmichellecoaching.com, and book an introductory call with me to get advice on your unique situation. I have a 1-to-1 50-minute call for people that I've never met before, where we get a chance to get to know each other and you get solid advice on your situation. Much love, and I'll see you all next week.